is everything. There is everything. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Test. Testing 1, 2. Hello, Tommy and Marie and Ron and Jim and Clint and Tim and John and the other Tim. Yes, we are competing with the launch, but you know, it's all a matter of personal preferences. Personal preferences. Excuse me. Lemonade. And I will comment on the official, one of the very few official sponsors of the Streaming Idiots, which is the Lollipop Dum Dums that, let's turn off this autofocus here, that are made by the Spangler Candy Company that are just wonderful. And this, I mean, and you know, it's one of those things where every company tries to innovate, you know, or at least the good ones do. And this is a Dum Dum that is a peach mango. Peach mango. I had it a little while ago, and it was really tasty. Peach mango. And you know, you think about it. You know, why would you want to? Why would an adult want a lollipop? Well, number one, it sets you apart from the crowd. Low audio. Okay, Tommy, we'll take care of that. Thank you. And the second is, see if that's any better, is that it's really good, and it's not very big, so it's not going to be a lot of sugar. Audio is low and choppy. Audio is a bit weird tonight. Okay, well, let's see if we can't play with that a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if it's a problem with the mic. Let's see if that helps with the choppiness. I had the NS filter on because I don't know if you hear it, but I heard a little static or a little, you know, a little white noise maybe in the background. So, yeah. Anyway, Dum Dums, love them, recommend them every chance I get. Only to be exceeded by Smarties. So if you have some of both, you sort of say balanced. Oh my gosh, that's better. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Always good to have input. Always good. How low can audio go? Well, yeah, it can go low. Hello, Rick. Big shout out to Rick Mitchell with the Broadband Business Systems up in Kentucky. Good customer and client. Hello, Gunner. Hello, Rich. Rich is watching from Northern California. Northern California. Edgar County Watchdogs, welcome. Is that Edgar County Watchdogs? Hang on a second. Don't tell me. Is that John? Not John. The other John. Oh, my gosh. Do the rest of you know the word dumb in Danish means stupid? Well, that's what it means in the U.S. in English, too. Edgar County Watchdogs is Southern Illinois. It is John. Okay, good. There you go. Tommy says, read my post at the top of the chat. Much better audio. Is that the post you're talking about, Tommy? Very good. Very good. All right, let's see where we got. We've got a few more minutes here. Rich says the jet ski racing resumes on June 12th, which is what, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks at Panama City Beach. That's Florida. That's about Panama City Beach, about 3 hours from here. Rich, are you coming to Pensacola again this year? Or is that time already come and gone? I think that was in May, a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Ken is here. Ken, you just missed the shout out that we gave to the Dum Dums. This is today's official flavor. The official sponsor of today's broadcast is Peach Mango Dum Dums. Peach Mango Dum Dums. I mean, who would have thought of Peach Mango? I actually had one earlier. It was very tasty. hat tip to the flavor engineers, Ken, at Spangler Candy Company, the home of Dum Dums, the official candy of Streaming Idiots, of course. Yes, indeed. Yes, it does look peachy. It does. It does. That's a bad pun, but that's okay. Rich is not sure Pensacola and other. Okay. Oh, municipalities pending approval. Well, Florida should be opening up pretty, pretty well. Although Pensacola tends to be a little, what's the right word for it? Authoritarian, maybe. Yeah, Pensacola is not as laid back, power wise as say Panama City. Pensacola's they're a little tight in the britches. Tommy says, need a show on vMix scripting. Oh, that's a great idea, Tommy. Will you come on and be a guest and show us about scripting? Scripting is it's easy depending on what you want it to do. Oh, the TDS cup. Thank you. Yes, this was a gift from who was it a gift from? One of my children, I think. I dropped it yesterday, put a big dent in it. But, it takes a licking and keeps on cooling. Ken said this is more exciting than the SpaceX launch. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Oh, yeah, we need to turn that phone off. I've set up a phone here just for fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. It's here on the desktop, and it gives me an alternate look. Not sure how the audio sync is on this one. It might be a little behind. Check. Yeah, it looks like it's behind quite a bit. Interesting. It would be interesting if, let's go back to that other shot. It would be interesting. I know vMix announced in the vMix Fun Time live show last night about dynamic inputs and dynamic, not variables, what are they called? Values, dynamic values. And it would be interesting to have the ability in triggers to, depending on which camera shot you had, to adjust the audio delay. I mean, it wouldn't work if somebody's singing. It wouldn't work that way. Tommy says when you put the cup down, it causes a loud boom in the audio. Sorry about that. I've actually got a little cup holder here. It's for one of my larger cups. So I'll be more careful. Gunnar says the audio is funny now. Ron just upgraded to vMix 4K today, and he's loving it. Or was that yesterday, Ron? That was yesterday. Yeah. Yep. Audio is funny. Give me some ideas, and we'll make some changes here. Rick says I used a phone on the organ player's hands Sunday, and it was appreciated. Oh, that's good. That's good. How did the sync thing work? That's the thing. That's the thing. Ken says, how do you change the green screen perspective when you change cameras? Oh, you mean this green screen? This green screen? It is pretty amazing green screen, isn't it? Yeah, I very carefully calculated the angles and then skewed the background. So no, this is a real set. That's a real set. The green screen's over there. I did have green screen here at this desk, but where's the pre-show shot? There we go. That's the one. That's the shot. I did have green screen at this desk, but I took it down because I gave it to my grandson for his studio. So it's It's not a green screen. Although last night the vMix Funtime live show had similar artwork that I think was virtual artwork. So Ken said I fooled him into thinking that a real backdrop was a green screen. Okay, that's good. Papa Bear is here. Welcome. Yeah, that's right, Ron. It was last Saturday that we did the vMix 4K upgrade for him. Yep. I fooled Ken, and Tommy likes it. Yeah, I had this backdrop just sitting in the storage room over there, and I said, why not just throw it up here? And it kind of has changed the look of the studio. That big old, what was it, a 4x6 or 5x8, I guess 4x6 green screen, that portable one, the one that you twist to get all knotted back up in a circle. And it looked just kind of hokey, just thumbtacked to the wall. Yep. Here we go. All right. Rick says talking about the keyboard, the organ players at the speed he was telling, no one could tell. Well, there you go. That's what it takes sometimes, just to give it a shot. You just never know what the result is going to be. You never know. I wonder what the latency is on this call. I probably ought to try an SRT call sometimes. Where is the call? There it is. Let's bring it up here. Latency of 200 to 300 milliseconds. So that's quite a bit. I think I've got about 85 milliseconds latency on the mic, just based on the latency of the Logitech. This is a Logitech C920 for the day. Tommy says the uplighting looks good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, let's get into the show, and because it is showtime, and we'll see what we have to offer. So, with no further ado, let's go here, and then we'll go here. Hey there, welcome. This is Streaming Idiots. This is officially the, have you ever been to the Grand Canyon or a big place like that and looked over the edge? Well, yes, you have come to the edge of the internet, and that's where Streaming Idiots lies. I am Tom Sinclair. It's my pleasure to be your host today for another. Do you know that Streaming Idiots and its predecessor, have been the longest continually running live streaming show about live streaming ever. Back from July of 2012, we have been in continuous production since that time, occasionally taking a week off for holiday or something like that. But other than that, I don't know how many shows that is. I guess, coming July, that'll be 8 years. So that's a lot of talk about live streaming, but how much has changed in that time? When we look back to 2012 and all the kinds of things that we were forced to do in order to be able to make a live stream, holy cow, is it night and day difference? Night and day difference. Saw Ron's note in the chat. If you're not in a place where you can see the chat, go on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the Watch Live tab, and you can get it on the chat there. Ron says that he has to turn his audio delay up to 563 so his Logitech C920 will match his audio. Wow, that's huge. Okay, we're getting a little stream issue here, so let's drop this drop this stream, see if that helps. So we're stopping the first stream here because we're streaming 2 to Facebook and 1 to YouTube. And both the Facebook streams went orange, which means there's a problem somewhere. Probably internet bandwidth. I forgot to do an upload test before I started the show. Serves me right. So there you go. So Chris is here. He's waiting on the SpaceX launch. Glad to have you for whatever period of time you can get here. And Otis is here. He's here from Texas again. Thank you, Otis. Glad to have you. Yeah, the one thing that I wanted to really comment on today was the change, obviously the changes in the live streaming, the whole live streaming industry since 2012. But I'll warrant you that the changes in the last 3 months in terms of acceptance might just be equal to the acceptance of the last 12 years. Excuse me, not 12 years, 8 years since 2012, since we started this show. So, it can be, it's all in the perspective. It's all in this perspective. But kind of a microcosm of that for me is the vMix Funtime live show last night. It was at, I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning here in Alabama, USA. And it was done intentionally at that time so that those of you in Europe could watch and enjoy the show, because otherwise you'd have to get up in the middle of the night like I would have. I didn't do it last night. Generally I do, but last night was just couldn't do it. But I was watching bits and pieces of it today, and Martin was talking about, if you haven't seen it, you want to go back and see it. They're talking about, vMix 24 is delayed slightly. No news there. We all knew it was delayed, and partially because, there's just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in a new instant replay improvement in vMix right now, although I would argue that point. Martin says that he really has he's spent a lot more time in trying to tune up vMix Call, both on the vMix end of it, as well as the changes that we talked about last week in the vmixcall.com beta, that's it. That's right. That came out last week. But, here's the other part of it. The vMix is constantly improving. For example, let me just throw this up here. This is, and let's see if we can get rid of that lower third. There we go. This is the changes that were made to vMix while we slept. And these are, so this is version 23.0.0.55. That means there have been 55 updates to version 23 since it rolled out, or 54 updates, depending on how you looked at it. But these are not major issues. Well, unless you have them, of course. If you have this issue, then it's probably a major issue. For example, if there's an issue with the VST plugin that requires a very large amount of space for saved settings, well, if you're on a lower spaced machine, then you may you may need the extra space, and this may benefit you. But for me, it's just a great example of how vMix continues to want to improve and to respond to their users. I can't be impressed enough about that. It just did I make the room shake? Sorry about that. I just am constantly amazed at the vMix guys and at how they have such great respect for their clients, their customers, their users, so that I think that's one of the reasons why Martin hadn't changed the interface, the UI. Yes, it looks like something that a 10-year-old drew up. Yes, it looks like something that was made 20 years ago or 40 years ago to run on a UNIVAC system. If you don't know what a UNIVAC system is, then you're too young. But it's functional and it's familiar, and there's a lot of value to the familiar. You remember when Microsoft went from Windows 7 to Windows 8 and threw out tiles, and everybody just freaked because it was just this major shift. And suddenly Microsoft was expecting everybody to change the way they had always done things, or at least it gave us the impression that they were going to change, that they wanted us to change everything that we'd ever learned. And so many people skipped Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 and stayed with Windows 7 until Windows 10 came on. And actually, I was one of those late adopters of Windows 10. But I think vMix has taken a different approach, which I think is far wiser, which is to suffer through the criticism of the outdated UI, but yet at the same time make vMix so very powerful and so very flexible and so very usable and useful that once you use it, you don't care what it looks like. It's like driving an ugly car. If that car has got a dual turbos, who cares if it's ugly? Holy cow, it flies. That's vMix. vMix is the ugly car with dual turbos. Now, Martin and Tim probably won't be returning my emails after I've said that, which they have been very kind and returned my emails in the past. But so if you're holding out on a big change to the vMix UI, just erase that holdout. It's likely not going to happen. I won't say it won't, but it's likely that it won't happen because they're focusing on the more important things. They're really focusing on the more important things. And I think the list that I just showed you, where they're taking care of even the minor updates that a customer has come up with a problem on. There's just that pride of authorship, pride of ownership with vMix that you don't see in some of its competitors. They're just not proud of their product, and the vMix guys are proud and protective of their product, and that's why I'm so pleased to be able to represent them in the United States. It's a real treat, and frankly, depending on where you are, if the exchange rate is right, you can buy your vMix or vMix upgrades from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. So we'll throw that up there again. Yeah, there it is down there. If the exchange rate is right, it might give you a good boost. So we're happy to do that. Let's see. We were talking about vMix, one of my all-time favorite subjects, and frankly, just as an aside, if it wasn't for vMix, my company would not exist. Eastern Shore Broadcasting wouldn't be around, because vMix is the glue that makes it. It's the secret sauce that makes everything else work. When we build a PC, yes, vMix is the most expensive thing we put in it, but by the time we put all the RAM and the capture cards and the video graphics card, and the CPU and the motherboard and all the other doodads that go into putting together a good system and all the tweaks that we make to it, all that is useless, frankly, without vMix. I think we've built maybe 2 or 3 Wirecast systems where the folks wanted it spec'd for Wirecast, and they were going to put Wirecast on it. We didn't put Wirecast on it. And almost all of those folks, well, 2 out of the 3, have come back and said, let's try vMix. Can we put a trial on there? I said, yes, you can put a trial on there. And we actually built the PC. Even though it was built to Wirecast specs, we also built it to make sure it would run vMix, because we really think that's where a lot of folks are going to end up. So if you're a Wirecast user and you're thinking, I'm tired of suffering with it, give vMix a try. It's a free 90-day trial. Of course, it doesn't run on Mac, so if you've got a Mac, you're kind of up the creek. But you can always get a PC. You don't have to have a big honcher PC. The vMix Funtime live show last night reviewed an Asus Ryzen laptop that was quite powerful and was about $1,200 US. Didn't have a Thunderbolt port on it. They were going to get a Dell that did, that was running, I think, an an Intel chip, but I'm not sure. They haven't gotten it yet. But the idea is that you can do a lot with vMix even on an underpowered machine. For example, I live streamed my church's services several times out of necessity with the Microsoft Surface, just because I didn't have anything else available at the time, and it stretched it a little bit, but it ran. I mean, it was 1080p, but it did. And it got a little warm. But the systems that we build are intended to not get warm, to be bulletproof and run continually forever. That's kind of the way it goes. Art of Nature Photography said he worked at UNIVAC. Oh, Art, my blessings. You're still hanging in there, bud. UNIVAC, good old UNIVAC. So that's my little diatribe on vMix today. A couple of updates on things that are going on here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Our portable PC project. Where is number 8? Can we bring number 8 up? Yeah, there we go. There's number 8. Our portable PC project is put on hold. We've got the prototype built, and we have stripped the outer pieces off of the other systems that we have. I think we have about 9 or 10 of them, and those are ready to go to the powder coater to get powder coated in what apparently is going to be my favorite colors. And then we'll begin the process of taking the guts out of them and rebuilding from the inside with new power supply, motherboard, CPU, RAM, video card, capture card. And we found this really cool thing. In fact, I had a vMix Go in here for repair, I guess about 6 months or a year ago. And in the process of repairing it, of course, got to see how it was designed. And it was a very similar case to these kinds of cases. And they had put in a pair of XLR inputs and a pair of XLR outputs. And I thought, well, that's really neat. What do they do? Stuff a mixer in there? Well, no, actually there is a device. I forget who makes it, and I don't have it handy, but basically it's got a pigtail that's got 2 XLR males and 2 XLR females, and then it has some sort of controller in the middle, and then on the other end it has USB 3, and so it will plug into a USB 3 port. But in this case, we got an adapter so that we could plug it right into the USB 3 motherboard. So the only thing that you'll see from the outside will be the XLR inputs and outputs. And we're debating just, where on the case to put that. It doesn't show in the photograph. We'll go back to the picture for a second. The end that we are more likely to put those on would not be the business end there on the left that you see, where the graphics card is and the motherboard and the CPU, the power supply are, but rather on the other end, where it has 2, I think 5 1/4 inch slots for DVD drives or something like that. Obviously not a floppy. And then it's got a little skinny mini. I think it's a CD drive. I haven't even checked it, frankly. So anyway, that project has gotten sidelined a little bit because basically we've been overwhelmed with orders for PCs. We're sending out 4 today, and we've got 1, 2, 3 on the workbench right now, and then 3 or 4 behind that. So we're just cranking them out as quickly as we can. If you're interested in one, by all means, let us know. We'd be happy to. You can either get it directly off our website. They're there. We'll put that website URL up again. Or you can call us and talk to us about dialing it down and making it specifically the way you need it to be. The other note about while we're talking about gear is that tomorrow we will be receiving both some more of the Magewell HDMI to USB 3 adapters and some of the Uon HDMI to USB 3 adapters. So if you have not been able to find anything to plug HDMI into your laptop, via USB, we will have those. They should be shipped in tomorrow, so they won't be available to ship out tomorrow, I don't think, but we can certainly ship them on Friday. They're in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. And I think there's a note that they were on back order and that they're due in tomorrow, and we'll update that note once we get them. I need to wait until they're in my hot little hand. We've promised too many things, like the debacle with the debacle with the PTZ Optics cameras. I don't know what the problem is. We thought a week or 10 days ago that the log jam was unjamming. And maybe it's unjamming for somebody else, but it's not unjamming for Eastern Shore Broadcasting. We've got tons of cameras on order with the distributor Broadfield, and just not getting any movement. We've got some cameras that have been on back order for over 2 months, and I just that's just no way to run a railroad. I wish there was another option to do that. My apologies to any clients that are watching that are wondering where your camera is. It's golly, all the stories that we've heard about, they're going to be in next week or the week after that, that was all smoke and mirrors. Not happy camper. And I understand that this is a time where things might be in short supply, but good, accurate information and being honest and above board goes a long way. And it goes a long way because people have long memories, and they remember the people that were honest and dealt with them fairly, and they remember the people that that didn't appear to be. And so that's a thinly veiled hint for somebody to get their act together. But that's okay. We've been able to find all the gear we need to make PCs, and that's been really fun. One of the problems that we had, we use an outfit out of California for a lot of our gear, and I watched as their supply and their offering of power supplies, suddenly was like, sold out, back order, sold out, don't have any stock, whatever the message was. And so I started just buying those whenever I could find them, right and left, from paying 10 or 20% more than I normally would, just because I want to have them. And so I've got a closet full of power supplies. I'm hoarding power supplies because without a power supply, you can't make a computer run. So that if you need a power supply, good luck in finding it. Holy cow. The challenge of finding motherboards is getting the same way. CPUs is getting the same way. Fortunately, again, we put in a good supply of those so that we've got them as we need them. These are the ones, frankly, a couple of different models of motherboard will cover, dozens and dozens of needs. And so we've been able to be pretty successful in getting what we need like that. Yep. Okay. Earlier, Ken was talking about the interesting, and we'll take this shot off. There we go. The interesting look that we have with the green screen here by using a second camera. So we'll go to that second camera. And you can see the green screen look is pretty good, even though it's at a different angle. We're kind of looking up a little bit in that shot, and it's a different angle on the green screen. So you want to ask me how I did the physics of that? It took me almost all night to calculate all the angles. It probably would have been better if I'd put the second camera at the same angle as the first camera. No, I'm just teasing. It's a late April Fool's joke. It's not. This is a real backdrop or a real fake backdrop. It's not a green screen, and this is. And this camera, as you can see, the delay on the camera is way off, because this is coming in frankly over vMix Call. I probably could have used the NDI camera. That would have been a lot better, a lot less latency. Maybe we'll try that next time. Anyway, it was just kind of fun, just kind of playing with that. Yep. And Kenny says, I'm responsible for the high cost of power supplies. Well, maybe, but you got to have what you need to help folks when the ox is in the ditch. And how many people have called and said, Tom, our church is dead in the water. We've got to be able to live stream. A local church called last week, well, actually 2 weeks ago, and said that their pastor had been flying to Chicago every week to record some inspirational broadcasts, and he couldn't fly anymore. I mean, it just wasn't appropriate for him to fly for that reason, and so they needed to put their own studio here in our area, and it's just taken a while to get the gear together for them. To essentially build a studio, but we've got almost all of it on hand, and we'll be working on their PC pretty soon, and doing we're going to use the AIDA 4K camera, the UHD 100, with a special lens that really does make the 4K kind of shine. But that's for another show. Well, let's move into the post show, see if you've got some questions. And we'll be right back with that. And we're out. How about that? There we go. Daniel's here. It's late for him. And the audio is fine there. Well, I'm glad. I am glad. And let's move this out of the way so we can see the... Tommy says, is this the commercial part of the infomercial? Yes, it was. Oh my gosh. Otis says, little old me received a technical response from the CEO helping figure out my antivirus had blocked vMix social problem. How about that? I tell you what, Martin will reply. And of course, Otis, you've met him. I think you've met him in person a couple of times at NAB. And so, he probably remembers you from that. Let's see. UNIVAC is not a vacuum. That's right. UNIVAC actually predated IBM, as I recall. And they were the ones that came out with the first real computer. And IBM, even though IBM wasn't first to the market, they were better. And so, bing. Nobody's ever heard of UNIVAC anymore. Tommy updated the church computer very early this morning. Glad to hear that. Let's see. What else did I miss? Herman's here. Welcome, sir. All right. Papa Bear is asking, what upload test do you use? I like the Google Fiber one. Dave Edwards turned me on to that one, and he seemed to think that it was more accurate and didn't inflate the numbers the way some of the others did that were sort of in the pocket of the various ISPs. So I use that one pretty regularly. But, like any other speed test thing, it tests between you and the closest server. So it's not the kind of thing that is going to be long-term the best tool to use for, let's say, if you're having problems with a vMix call, it's not going to tell you the condition of the internet between you and your client or between you and your guest. That's the wild, wild west there, the unexplored wild territory. And who knows what kind of route it's going to take there. Tim says, some of us are old enough to remember UNIVAC and punch cards. Ooh, that's right. I've forgotten about punch cards. Or tape. Oh, yeah. I think tape was an improvement. It's actually paper tape with little holes in it. That's what, and that's how you programmed a computer. Holy cow. Yep. Video Mix TV says, besides having an external playout server, is there any way to get a log of files played in list on vMix? Not quite catching your question, but you may want to look at the plugin for vMix called Automation for vMix. It may just be automation. I think it's in Facebook under Automation for vMix, but it's a piece of a quote unquote a plug-in or an add-on written by Giles Warham at Step Back in Time TV that allows him, I think he wrote it for himself initially, to basically live stream 24/7 using vMix as the engine, but basically built on top of vMix to do things that vMix doesn't do. And Joe DeMax is in the house. And Joe has got a new product offering that he's going to come on this show and talk about soon, right, Joe? Where he has repurposed some old, I don't know how old they are, but they're old for me, and I'm old, some old NewTek TriCaster control surfaces, and made them work with things besides TriCaster, like Blackmagic and vMix and such. And so, and then he's got, the whole software support that comes along with that process. So that'll be pretty cool. We can talk about that real soon. Disc packs. Oh yeah, I remember disc packs. Man, yeah. What was it? It would be about this big and oblong. It might have multiple platters in it, and it might be a megabyte. Yeah, man. Those things were huge. Those were amazing. Joe says, I'll email you about it ASAP. I've been ever busy working the booming live streaming. Is the live streaming industry booming? It's probably just a British thing. All right. Video Mix TV says, I need to be able to get date and timestamp for traffic and billing purposes. Gotcha. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about automation for vMix to know if that does that. And if it doesn't, it might be a worthy suggestion to pop it in there. Or at least, to suggest to Giles that he take a look at that. Joe says, since the pandemic, it's definitely booming. I would agree with that. The part that I see as booming, and I'm not getting overwhelmed with phone calls about it, but I am getting what I would call quality inquiries from people that are in Fortune 500 positions that are casting about for live streaming, and it has amazed me that that people that are smart and well placed in industry, in the broadcast industry, are so ignorant of live streaming. It really, I mean, it's a boon for me, but it really has amazed me. I guess they've just, thought it was some sort of gamer kind of thing, and eventually it would go away. But it's been fun to work with people that are working with people that are doing some really, really great things, especially in remote conferencing. One of the folks that reached out to us recently to get vMix was an outfit that does. They used to do conferences around the world called TED Talks, and now they're doing all their conferences remotely and using vMix Pro for that. If you'd like more information about that, let me know, and we can see about. I should have turned that ringer all the way down earlier. My bad. Let's turn it down now. Joe says we are the ghetto of internet video. Well, it's there's a lot going on in the ghetto. There sure is, and a lot of innovation, a lot of ingenuity. People putting things together that weren't necessarily made to go together, and have them work out. We're working with a company right now on some BirdDog P200 cameras. We've got several here in the studio now that we're testing. And, they want to set them up as part of a remote kit that they can send a guest. And the guest can plug the camera into the internet, plug a mic into the camera, and go away. And the studio back, the central control can control the camera remotely. That's the beauty of it. So they can dial in the camera so far as the pan, tilt, and zoom, of course, but also the lighting and the other controls in the camera to get the subject looking their very, very best. Of course, you put the subject in front of a window, there's not much you're going to be able to do about that. So there you go. Well, guys, I've got to go back and see if we can't get some more of these PCs built. It was good to hang out with you today. If I can help you in any way, reach out to me. There's a contact form at easternshorebroadcasting.com. That would be, in fact, that's probably better to use than calling me. I am way behind them. I was looking at phone calls last night. I've got phone calls from 2 weeks ago that I haven't yet returned. But somehow an email, I can return an email at 1 a.m, but nobody's going to appreciate me returning a call at 1 a.m. So if I can help you, shoot me an email. That's the best way to reach me. Until next week, I appreciate you, and I will see you later and see if we can't find a little theme music or something to go out on. What do we got here? There we go. We'll throw this at you. Y'all take care.